Hey, welcome back to this channel. I hope you've been enjoying the videos I've been uploading. If you haven't subscribed, I would like you to subscribe and on your notification bell so you get notified once I upload my videos. Today we'll be moving to another topic entirely. We'll be talking about educational finance. What does the term educational finance? What does it mean? What are the sources of educational finance? And let's go to the business of the day. So I'll be talking about the definition of educational finance and financial management. Well, I would like to show you the difference between the educational finance and financial management. Now, let's move to what educational finance says. It says this lies on the borderline between economics of education and education law. That is, when you talk about educational finance, it is just something like this. Just like when you have a Venn diagram, and this is economics of education, and this is education law. So here comes in what educational finance. That is educational finance. It shares the characteristics of both educational law and economics of education. So there are sometimes it follows some educational laws. There are sometimes it makes use of economic principles. It makes use of economic principles, economic theories, and so on. I hope you get that. So that is why they said it lies on the borderline between the economics of education and education law, and it is both. It is concerned with something. I mean, the educational finance on its own. It is concerned with something. It's concerned with the income and expenditure. Remember, the similarities between educational finance and financial management is the income and expenditure. The two based on what income and expenditure. But that of educational finance, it is restricted to educational institution alone. I hope you get that. The word educational finance. So it is what restricts the finance to education alone. I hope you get that. Educational finance. The word educational that is behind restrict the finance to educational system alone. But when you talk about financial management, it is what takes place in all human organization. It is what takes place in all human organization. It is not restricted to education system alone. It takes place in all human organization. And when you talk about human organization, it entails hospitals, hotels, industries, government, ministries, and departments. So it is not just restricted to what financial management is not restricted to educational system alone. It is what takes place in every human organization, and it is a management activities on how to procure. When you say procure, how to get, expend, and give records of account. So one thing, the difference between the educational finance and financial management is that financial management on its own, financial management, it gives account of all income and expenditure, So it doesn't just spend anyhow, and it doesn't just receive money. It gives account of all the income and expenditure that takes place in all human organization. So that's why I said it is a management activity on how to procure, expend, and give records of accounts, on how to plan, control, and be accountable based on what income and expenditure. But note, financial management is not limited to educational institution alone. It takes place in hospitals, hotel, industries, government ministries, and departments. I hope you get that. It takes place in all parastatals in general. So, but when you're talking about this educational finance, so the sources of income of educational authorities includes different source, but we have different levels of educational system. We have the primary level, the secondary, and the tertiary level. But majorly today, we'll be looking at the sources of income to the tertiary and the secondary, and I'll focus more on Nigerian university. So the first one I want you to know is that they get grants from the National University Commission. I hope you get that. They get grants from, that is where you see the TET fund and the likes. So they get grants from what, the National University Commission, as well as they get funds from endowments, and many institutions also have their farm. So they generate money from their farm, agricultural produce they produce in their what, in their farm. So agricultural produce, which might include the eggs, the bread, custards, you understand, poultry and the likes. So they also get money from printing press. A lot of schools have their press, so they get money from printing press as well. Many schools they have bookshops, they sells books and the like. So they also generate money from bookshop. I hope you're getting that. So they also generate money from consultancy service. Yeah, many schools have this counseling section. So when you go for consultation, you understand. So they generate money from that too. So there are many ways at which universities generate their source of finance. But let's just stop here. Then let's move to the secondary schools as well. The major source of secondary schools income is the tuition fee paid by the students. The tuition fees paid by the students. So there is no how. That is the major and the direct source of finance to secondary schools. Another one is the caution fee. Do not make noise, do not speak vernacular and the like. So there is money there is being attached to all these cautions. So they also have library fees. In this library fees, they get money in the sense that when students want to register for their library pass, they have to get money from them, get them ID cards and the likes. So in doing this, they also generate income. They also have equipment fees, like the secondary school generates equipment fee. We want to buy this, we want to buy that. There is no how they will use all the money the students gives to them to settle what they want. There is no how the money will not even remain. So they also have the development levy. So we have different sources of income to secondary school as well. But let's leave that and let's quickly move to the purpose of financial management in educational institutions, divided into two. This will be divided into two. The purpose of financial management. When I was talking about financial management, I said it is concerned about how to procure, how to expend, and give account of income and expenditure. You understand what I'm saying? So in schools now, and I said earlier that financial management is not restricted to a school, but I said it is done in all human organization. But now we want to check the financial management in the human organization of school. I hope you get that. So that's why I said the purpose of financial management to educational institutions. That is, we want to check it in the educational line. So the first one I have termed the central purpose, while the second one I termed other purposes. I hope you get that. Other purposes. So I hope you get that. So when you're talking about the central purpose, the first one I would like you to know that the financial management deals with the raising of funds, how to procure funds. It deals with the raising of funds. That is, how can we get this fund? Where can we source for this money? Where can we source for this? That is what financial management is about. The second one is, how do we mobilize this fund? The mobilization of fund. How do we organize? And the fund does not necessarily mean money alone. Sometimes it means resources, educational resources. So how do we organize these educational resources? How do we mobilize it? I hope you get that. Then thirdly, the utilization of fund in the most effective and efficient manner. You see, the one thing about financial management is when you get something. So one thing about financial management is this: once you get something, you must maximize it to the last. without wasting anything. So that is what the financial management is about. You getting the resources, you getting the funds, and utilizing it in an effective and efficient manner without wastage. I hope you get that. So the fourth one is the optimal utilization of fund based on the scarcity of resources. That is, you must have at the back of your mind that resources are what? Are scarce. So they must be optimally what? Utilized. I hope we get that. So let's quickly move to the other purposes in what? Of financial management. The first one I want you to know is that it assists educational managers and administrators to keep record of their stewardship in financial matters for the benefit of government, the proprietor, or the governing council of the institution. I told you initially that educational finance, that financial management, it is about what? How you plan, control, and be accountable based on the income and expenditure. So if you bring these two together, you will know that it helps what, or it assists education managers and administrators to keep a record of their stewardship, since they know that accountability is part of the functions of financial management. It is part of it's part of the managerial activities of financial management. Therefore, it helps them, it enables them, it assists them to keep a record of their stewardship in financial matters. Remember, financial management, that is, you are talking about finance in what? Management. I hope you get that. So your management is it's surrounding what? Financial matters. So it helps them to keep record of their stewardship in financial matters for the benefit of the government. The government might be the governing council there. The government is the governing council of the public schools. I hope you get. While the proprietors for the private schools. So that's what I said, for the benefit of the government, or the proprietors, or the governing council of the institution, so that it will be very easy. I hope you get that. So the next one is, it is the supervision of cash receipts and payment and safeguarding for cash balance. What does this mean? What this means is that, you see, cash receipts, you're talking about income, you're talking about revenue. I hope you're getting that. But when you're talking about cash payments, you're talking about your expenditures. So as a manager, financial management helps you to know your income and how to spend based on the income you've generated, so that you will not run into deficit. I know what deficit means. That is when your expenditure is greater than spending more than you are generating. That is called deficit. So you not run into deficit. I know what deficit means. That is when your expenditure is greater than your income. So the knowledge of this financial management, it helps you to understand how to spend based on what? Your income. I hope you get the purpose of financial management to educational institution. Don't forget, and let me just bring this together so that you know that we are still saying the same thing. Here I said financial management. It is concerned with the activities on how to procure, expend, and give records of accounts. Now look at the central purpose here. The central purpose here also states raising of fund. When you are procuring, you are raising. I hope you are getting that. This place, it says planning, like planning for funds, controlling. When you are planning, you are thinking of how to raise. When you are mobilizing, you are giving up. When you are mobilizing, you are organizing. I hope you get that. So when you are utilizing it, that is when you are expending it. You understand? And when you are giving records, that is when here also says, and give records of account. So that is where you give the records of your stewardship. So you can generate the purpose of your financial management from its definition. You can generate it from the definition, or from the illustration here. I hope you get that. So